Good morning everyone. Today we will discuss how to solve a problem using cantilever method. So as you all know, the cantilever method is a approximate method to for analyzing the portal frame subjected to lateral loading. And let me discuss the assumptions. So you have already covered portal method in the previous classes. So the first assumption is same as that of portal method. The point of contraflexure occurs at the midpoint of all the members of the frame. That means at midpoint of all the beams and columns we will assume the point of contraflexure or the zero bending moment point. Okay. So the second assumption is the axial stress in a column is directly proportional to the distance of the column from the centroidal vertical axis of the frame. Okay, so this comes from an assumption that by treating the entire portal frame into cantilever. I'll show you. So you may consider a portal frame like this, say something like this, and which is subjected to some load. The support may be fixed at the bottom. Okay, so this will be treated something like a cantilever. So you may tilt it by 90 degree horizontal. So it will be something like a open web cross section cantilever. Sorry, so there were only two bays. And 1, 2, 3 is 3. So something like this, and it is subjected to transverse loading like this. Is it okay? So this portal frame which is subjected to horizontal load is tilted by 90 degree, and now it looks like a cantilever which is supported at the left end and something like an open web cross section. So you all know the bending stress at a particular cross section is directly proportional to the distance from the neutral axis. So we will draw the bending stress something like this. Here it will be tension and it will be compression. The cantilever beam may bend something like this. At the top fiber it will be compression, bottom will be tension. So it will bend clockwise. So you can imagine how it will bend. The top fiber will be under compression and the bottom fiber will be under compression. Top fiber will be under tension and bottom fiber will be under compression. Okay, and the bending stress at a particular fiber is directly proportional to the distance from the neutral axis. That's m by I is equal to f by y. F is directly proportional to y, m by I into y. So that y is the distance from the neutral axis. So neutral axis will be here, where this cannot be at the center. If it is equal distance, it will be at the center anyway. So it will be proportional to the distance from that neutral axis, and here that force acts in this direction. Okay, so if you imagine the same in case of the portal frame subjected to horizontal loading, that concept holds good. So if this is our centroidal vertical axis, so this is, let it be x bar, centroidal vertical axis, and the distance from each column, so this is x1, so distance from this is x2, and distance to the third column is x3. So in this case the axial stress, so this is something like, this is the column. Okay, so I'll use another color. Say this is our column. Is it okay? This is our column. When you tilt, this was our column and this is our column. So this bending stress is similar to that of axial stress in the column. Okay, so that is directly proportional to the distance from the centroidal axis. So this is the assumption, second assumption. Okay, so the axial stress in a column is directly proportional to the distance of the column from the centroidal vertical axis. I'll show that in a figure. You may consider a portal frame. So the black colored one, so this is our frame. So it is having a span of 6 meter and 8 meter, and the height of the story is 4 meter at the top story, 6 meter at the bottom story, and I have marked the x bar. It will be, so the first span is 6 meter and second span is 8 meter. So it will be around between the second column and third column. I have marked the columns as 1, 2 and 3. So this you can see 1, 2 and 3 I have already marked. So this centroidal axis will be somewhere here, and the second assumption can be mathematically represented as F1 by A1. Let F1 be the axial force in column 1. Okay, by area of that column is A1. So F1 by A1 is directly proportional to the distance of that column from the centroidal axis, that is x1. Okay, so I've marked it as x1 here. So this is our centroidal axis. So let me use another color. So this is our centroidal axis. Distance of this to the centroidal axis is nothing but x1. So the axial stress is force by area. Axial force B, let axial force be F1. So F1 by A1 is directly proportional to x1. And another equation is for the second column, if you write F2 by A2 is directly proportional to x2, where x2 is the distance of the second column. This is column number 2. This is I have marked 2. So x2 from the centroidal vertical axis. And similarly you can write for the third column also, F3 by A3 is equal to A3 is directly proportional to x3, that distance. Okay. So this is how the second assumption can be mathematically represented. Okay. Now we will move into a problem. So part of the problem will be explained in this video, and the second part will be explained in the second video. Okay. So the question is, analyze the portal frame using cantilever method and area of all columns are equal. So the same problem I have been used. It is a 6 meter. We have a 6 meter span and then another 8 meter span, and the story height is 4 meter at the top story, 6 meter at the bottom story. It's a 2-base structure like this. Okay, and which is subjected to 2 loads, 20 kilonewton here and 40 kilonewton here, and the area of cross section of all columns are equal. Okay, so that's also given in the question. We have to analyze and find the bending moment diagram for the portal frame given. Okay, so let me move on the first step. The first step is we have to find the x bar distance, or where the centroid. So here we will start with the second assumption. So in the previous problem when we did portal method, we first found the shear force in columns. So the second assumption in the portal frame method was the interior shear column resists twice the shear force as that of exterior columns. So in that case we started with shear force in columns, but here the second assumption is for the axial stresses in columns. Okay, so we will start. So that one we have found in as the last step in the previous problem. You may refer that one too, and we will be starting in the reverse process. So we will be first finding the axial force in the columns. Okay, so for that first we have to find the centroidal distance. So the first step is we have to find the centroidal axis. Okay, so I have marked the centroidal axis as x bar in this figure. So this you can see, this is x bar is the centroidal distance at x1. So the forces are marked below. This is 20 kilonewton here and 40 kilonewton here, and the distance is x1 here, then x2 here, x3 here is the distance of each column from the centroidal axis. Let it be, and I'll find the centroidal axis. The equation is similar, something like, so I have been taking moment about the left end. So A1, so I am finding the distance x bar from the left end. Okay, so then in that case A1 first column, A1 into 0. So I have marked the expression A1 into 0, A2 into 6. Okay, A1 into 0, A2 into 6. So this is A2 column number 2, and the area of that one is, let it be A2 into 6. 6 is the distance from the left end to that second column. Then so 6 meter is the distance of this from the second column, and from the third column The area of, let it be A3, and the distance will be 6 plus 8, 14 meters. Okay, so that A3 into 40, 6 plus 8 is A1 into that distance from the left end, A2 into distance from the left end, and A3 into distance from the left end divided by A1 plus A2 plus A3. So we can solve it. 0a plus 6a plus 14a by areas are equal here. So area is given a equal. So a you can substitute and you can get the distance x bar as 6.67 meters. So here you can look this the distance from the left to here, it is 6 meters. So 6.67 will be between the second column and the third column. So you may mark that properly. So according to the distance you may mark it properly. Okay, so that is have to do. So this is 6.67 meters. I have marked it like this. Areas are equal, hinges are marked in the figure, area given, you have to find x bar and mark it in the figure. Okay, so the second step is you have to find the axial force in the column. So for that you have to cut, so you know this figure, then you may cut at this level. Take the equilibrium of the top part. Okay, this is subjected to 20 kilonewton in the top, so you may cut at this level. Okay, so this is subjected to, this is subjected to a 20 kilonewton force at this level, and the centroidal distance is marked as 6.67 meters. Okay, now you have to mark the axial forces. Okay, so this height is only 2, so I have cut in the level of hinges. So the total height of the story was 4 meters, so up to the hinge it is only 2 meters, and the load is 20 kilonewton acting from the left. Now you have to mark the axial forces in the columns. Okay, so you know on to the left side of the centroidal axis the columns will be under tension, right? So you may imagine the figure I have explained in the first slide. When you tilt the cantilever, at the top portion there will be tension, at the bottom portion there will be compression. Okay, so say similar to that, when we push or apply lateral force in the horizontal towards right direction, that columns on the left end will be under tension and columns on the right end of the portal frame will be under compression. So here we'll take the columns to the left of this neutral axis, centroidal vertical axis will be under tension, and you have to mark it as tension, and this will be under compression. Tension will be pulling the joints and compression will be pushing the joints, like this. You have to mark it properly. That marking should be proper, otherwise your there is chance for so there is chance for error. Okay, so this F1, F2, F3 I have marked. These are axial forces in column 1, column 2 and column 3. Okay, so now we'll move to the next slide. So what is our expression? It is F1 by A1. A1 is A itself, A directly proportional to X1, F2 by A directly proportional to X2, F3 by A. So it's a mistake. So this is F3 by A, F3 by A directly proportional to X3. So that X1, X2, X3 we can found. So you know X bar is 6.67 meters. So X1 is the distance from the left column to the centroidal. So it's again will be 6.67. X2 is the distance of this from the centroidal axis, second column. So in that case the total is 6.67. From here to here 6.67, and here to here it is only 6. So the remaining will be 0.67, and this will be 8 minus 0.67 is 7.33. X3, X1, X2, X3 values are found, and according to our second assumption, F1 by A is directly proportional to X1, F2 by A is directly proportional to X2, and F3 by A is directly proportional to X3. So that I have written, and the proportionality constant are same. So you can write F1 by A1 X1 is equal to F2 by A2 X2 is equal to F3 by A3 X3. So in this problem A1, A2, A3 are the same. So you can find the values of x1, x2, x3 we have found as 6.67 meter, 0.67 meter and 7.33 meter. I have explained in the previous slide itself. Then you can substitute the values of a, you can cancel in each expression. You will get f1 by 6.67, x1, value of x1 you can substitute. So value of x1 you can substitute. So it is 6.67, x2 can substitute 6.67, x3 can substitute 7.33. Now you will get some equations. So you have to solve f1, f2 and f3. So for easiness you may convert f2 and f3. So you may convert either of two of this into in single, I mean another thing, like f2 can be written in terms of f1 or f3 or f1 and f3 can be written in terms of f2, so you can choose any one. So I have written here f2 in terms of f1 and f3 in terms of f1. So if you divide, f2 can be written as 0.67 into 6.67 by f1. So you may go through this. Okay, so f2 is equal to 0.1 f1 you will get, and f3 is equal to 1.1 f1 you will get. Okay, then you have to take moment about the left hinge. So now we have marked f1 tensile. So we have marked f1 tensile, f2 tensile and f3 compressive. So we have to take moment about this hinge, left hinge here marked, I have circled it. So when you take the moment about this, there is a 20 kilonewton force acting, so it is clockwise. 20 into the distance is 2 meters, so 20 into 2 plus f1 into 0. f1 is acting downward at that, through that same point itself, so f1 into 0. Then f2 into 6. f2 is also acting downward, so that is also clockwise when you consider about this point. So if you take moment about this point, f2 into this distance, again clockwise, so plus f2 into 6 minus, this is acting upward, so minus f3 into the total distance is 14. So f3 into 14 is equal to 0. So 40 plus 0 plus 6 f2 minus 14 f3 is equal to 0. Now you can solve it, and you can substitute the values of f2 and f3 we have already found in terms of f1, so you may substitute that over here and find the value of f1. So you know the value of f1 is tensile. Okay, then you can similarly find the value of f2 and f3. f2 value is 0.1 f1, f3 value is 1.1 f1. And when you get the values f1, f2 and f3 so much kilonewtons, you can check whether it is correct. So the values to the left, the axial forces to the left of the centroidal vertical axis will be tensile in, that forces will be in tensile in nature, the other forces should be in compressive in nature. So when you look into this figure, so this forces, here it is, here it is acting downward and this is acting upward. So for this structure to be in equilibrium, sigma v should be is equal to 0. Okay, so f1 is acting downward, f2 is acting downward and f3 is acting upward. So f1 plus f2 should be equal to f3. Okay, so if you get another problem with 3 bays and 2 of them are acting to the left and 2 columns are to the right of the centroidal axis, then you can write f1 plus f2 is equal to f3 plus f4. Like that, the net axial forces to the left of the centroidal axis should be equal to the upwards, or simply sigma v should be equal to 0. So you can check at this stage, you can check whether the value that you have obtained is correct or not. Okay, based on this value you have to proceed the entire problem. So the check is you can check so that you can ensure that the problem is correct. Okay, so now we have to move to the next story level. So you have to cut at the next story level. So I have cut they set the next story hinge level. So here again you have to mark it f1 f2 downward tensile and f3 compressive. So central axis lies here and the distances are all same, and as per the second assumption you can write f1 by a1 x1 is equal to f2 by a2 x2, the same equation, and f2 will be point f1. So because the distances are all the same for the top story and this story, both the stories the distances are same. So this equation valid is valid here also. f2 is equal to 0.1 f1 and f3 is equal to 1.1 f1. Okay, so then you may take moment about the left hinge. When you take the moment about left hinge also, the equation, the remaining part, this much part is almost, it's the same itself. When you take the moment about this point, left bottom hinge, so here, so you can see there is 20 kilonewton, sorry, so this, wait, so sorry for the delay. So so you can look into the figure. So there is 20 kilonewton here, so it's not working anyway. So the 20 kilonewton force is here and 40 kilonewton force is here. When you take moment about the left hinge, 20 into 7 and 40 into 3 are clockwise. F1 pass through that hinge, f2 pass is at a distance 6 meter, f3 upward it is at a distance 14 meter. Okay, so when you write the equation, you will get the same equation, you can solve in the same manner, and f1 you will get 17.57 kilonewton tensile, and f2 and f3 similarly you can find out and check whether the f1 plus f2 values is equal to the f3 value, then only your problem will be correct. Okay, so the remaining portion will be explained later.